Morning, Dawn.
Morning, Mark.
Episode 50. I should have some.
Have you baked a cake?
Pardon?
Have you baked a cake? It's 50 anniversary.
No.
50 episodes.
Surprisingly not. No.
Can't rely on you, can I?
It's the only 50th anniversary we'll get to, isn't it?
Oh, don't be saying that. That's not nice.
Well, you might get there, but I won't. Tuesday the 12th of May. Tuesday the 12th of May 2020. Sorry?
You will do if you look after yourself.
Well, I do my best. Yeah. Anyway. Just a thought on the swearing front. One of the questions the other day, who swears the most? Dawn's 1-0 up. Dropped the F-bomb this morning once already. That wasn't against me.
That's to do with this coronavirus.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but they're really beginning to annoy me now.
Well, you haven't sworn on here, so that's the main thing.
No, I won't. I'll try not to.
Right. We're going to go, well, yesterday's music. Our top man, Steve Fury, came in with the win. It was Colonel Hath's March from the Jungle Book with the elephants. And the link, a little bit tenuous, but the link is Elephants, which is the cover of what is probably Elvis Costello's best known album, Armed Forces. So well done, Steve. You know, it favours a certain generation, some of these, but as the younger ones aren't really participating, I couldn't give a monkeys really. There you go. But here's today's music coming up. Okay, so we want the music and the link to yesterday. So just listen up carefully, everyone. Won't give any more. You're too good, everybody. Well, not everybody, but a few are really, really good at this. So I've got to be so careful to try and challenge them a little bit. Don't want it too easy. The only problem is I do worry that the music takes over from getting sensible feedback on the more serious.
Oh, well, I was quite encouraged yesterday by some of the feedback. I think if you haven't got anything to say, you're not likely to say anything, are you? So no. You just like it, or I mean, not everyone's going to agree with your opinion, are they?
Maybe it's like Brexit. Everyone thought we were staying in, and everybody else was, everyone was crazy, and all the quiet ones came out and voted the opposite way than expected, which would seem that like the massive people that give the feedback here, like Steve Fury, saying you're being very sensible. But I mean, he's only one of a handful, so we've got another 96% or something that maybe thinks something opposite, but just not prepared to say. So you've got to bear that in mind, haven't you?
Well, I think anything that you put out there, one way or another, I mean, it's your opinion, and other people have got different opinions, and they may sort of like ask you a question about something, but I do think that you've got to almost think on your feet. This is something that we've never been dealing with before, so you've got to think on your feet about it, and you've got to protect yourself, because that's the key here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Protecting yourself, because if you protect yourself, you protect others, and that's how I look at it.
Oh, that's quite a good slogan. They should have come up with that. Protect yourself and protect others. But knowing the British public, they would have interpreted that a little bit differently, and probably...
Well, there would have been loads of people ringing in. What do you mean protect myself? I don't understand. Wash your hands. That's what it means, mate.
Probably condoms.
Gracia summed it up yesterday, didn't she?
Hold on, wait. Let's take this feedback in order. I'm in charge today, not you. Let's get back to Dave Atkin. Gave me a phone call. He was a day late, and I'm not that impressed when I've already given the answer out the following day. But he did want us to know that he did look at the photograph of you and Oscar a couple of days ago, and he guessed 2008. So he said.
Well, that's all right then. He's okay. One up for you, Dave. Don't listen to him.
And he agreed with Dawn on all you said yesterday, apart from he was very concerned about the issue of visiting parents. I think what Dave was saying is he had visions of you entering the house, and then other sisters and brothers, or visiting and entering the
No,
house?
no. It'd be a one-to-one with my mum in the garden, and I mean, my dad will probably pop his head out the door, but it won't. Literally, that's all he does. I mean, the other day he forgot, and he did sort of like try and hand me something, and I said, "I'm sorry, Dad, you've got to put it down, and then I'll go forward and pick it up."
Yeah.
But that was a couple of, that was nearly a week and a half ago that I last saw him.
And disinfect yourself as well.
Well, I've got my hand gel, and I literally put my hand gel on before I go anywhere near them. I then wash my hands. If I have to go into the house to deliver packages, etc., sometimes I can't just leave them on the doorstep. They're too heavy. So I say to my mum, go in the other room, I'll wash my hands, and then I will step back out of the house.
Yeah, good. And they've got a back gate, so you can go into the garden directly. That's the main.
Yes, so I don't have to go through the house to go in. It gets into the garden, so that's fine.
I should have got a photograph up. We had a new bit of feedback from somebody. I'll do it tomorrow because I haven't got any photos today. But I was really pleased. We had got she's not quite famous, but she's not far removed from it, and that's Julie Asher Smith. And some people might recognise the surname. It's Dina's mum, who you know very well. And she said, "Hello, Dawn, looking fab."
Yeah, there was a bit of banter after that. He went, "What about me?"
Yeah.
And she said, "You've got to wear red lipstick to sort of like get noticed." And it is true. You do have to put something bright on to get noticed.
Yeah, I said to her, I'm a bit worried about some people requesting me to wear red lipstick. Lockdown seems to be affecting them quite considerably.
That's only your opinion.
And what's that?
Put a wig on or something as well.
Oh, yeah. Grazia, very strong views. She'd be good on here, actually. Very strong views, saying some people are just stupid if they can't interpret what Boris is saying. So, yeah. And Scott agreed with me about all the homosexual 50 to 60-year-old cyclists going around in packs, obviously living together, these old boys. And he's witnessed the same thing. And Grazia and Scott wanted to see my dolphin, or hear my dolphin impression, which was my only talent.
Also, Hubert asked to hear it as well. Oh, well, you're not going to see it, folks. You're just going to hear it.
Yeah,
it's only one and only party trick.
Yeah, I did try it last night. I had a tooth out the back of this, and I couldn't do it. But not bad. I mean, Scott took it a step further. I think he said when I was going to do an impression, I was going to dress up as a dolphin. No, that wasn't the idea, Scott. No.
Oh, well, that would be amusing from my point of view, but not yours, I don't think.
They are friendly, though. They are friendly. Hubert highlighted the fact that the Chief Provincial Public Health Officer, the CPPHO, doesn't really trip off the tongue that well, Dr. Bonnie Henry has been the star of briefings. She's been given the job in British Columbia of doing the daily COVID-19 briefings to everybody, and has gone down a storm because it's very sensible advice from somebody who's extremely well qualified, and she does it in a very empathetic way as well, to get her points across. So very impressed there. I'll
be perfectly honest. I mean, I think that the experts that the British government have been using have been excellent as well, because they're coming from a completely different perspective than a politician. I think it is like the Piers Morgans of the world and the politicians that are just getting on my nerves, because at the end of the day, the slogan says we're in this all together, but they don't seem to think that they are. I mean, all they were doing is undermining everybody, and I just find that destructive.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why I can't stand listening to it.
Yeah, well, we're trying to keep it a bit light-hearted today, so
Well, you brought up the subject. I think I should say my opinion. Thank you very much. Get on with it, Mr. Productor.
Hubert also highlighted the fact that he thought it was okay now to visit your mother, your grandchild, your toy boy, or your mistress, as long as you stay 2 meters apart.
That's what I think, and that's my interpretation of it. But
what is the point of you visiting your toy boy if you've got to stay 2 meters apart?
Well, I don't have to because I live with him.
Very quick. Yeah. Yeah. But, on a slightly more serious note, poor old Angie Crush, she was in terms of her job, she was having to read the 50-page guidance last night following Boris Johnson's announcement or speech on Sunday. And so Angie will be going into fine detail on what is allowed and not allowed in terms of employment.
I do think it is an attempt to get people back to work more than me go to see my mum. That's a minor point. Yeah. It is about trying to kickstart the economy. If you think about how long we've been locked down, we can't stay locked down forever. Otherwise, we're all going to run out of money, and the country's going to run out of money as well. So, let's get going, boys and girls. Let's do it sensibly.
Yeah. Angie did throw in, why don't we all vote for our funniest comedy clips over the years? And she put forward the bit in Only Fools and Horses where Del Boy is leaning on the bar and then falls through. When
they lifted it up, yeah.
She supplied the clip. Actually, I can remember, I don't know why, I must look it up, but the funny clip that I had remembered from Only Fools and Horses was when Del Boy's wife had the baby. And he was getting ever so emotional, and he didn't know what to do with himself. He was flapping. He'd been in there, seeing the baby arrived. He was in tears, and he came out, and he said, "It's the baby. It's a baby." And they said, "What about the sex?" And he comes back out. He goes, "Give her a chance." He goes. Never mind. That's much
funnier than the jokes you were telling last night. They were terrible. Yeah. Oh dear, that is funny.
So okay, and so I thought I'd get a segue going, a link, and we're talking about how Boris communicated, whether it was clear, needed the right level of explanation, etc., and whether it got the point across, or whether people were just stupid, as Grazia said, and couldn't take it on. And I was looking up communication and body language last night. If you're delivering something in a talk to anybody, such as I am now, what would you think are the most important aspects to think about?
Are you asking me? It didn't sound like that. I thought you were asking the audience the way you were rattling on. I probably think I would like someone in a calm manner, speaking matter-of-factually, rather than. I don't think Boris is particularly good at it. Sometimes he's very confident the way he comes across because he feels comfortable with the subject, and other times he tends to flap a bit. So I like someone who's very calm in their approach and very sort of like matter of fact. So it's a difficult one, but because I'm sure he's got many good talents that we don't necessarily see, don't necessarily come across. But I do think that if you're going to be the front of anything, that you should be calm in the way that you address everybody.
Yeah, I was just trying to see if calm was down there. Did say that the voice tones are important. You've got to think about the pitch, the emphasis, and be confident. That's one thing. Always be polite, which of course he would be, and that's like, avoid generalised and ambiguous statements. That's a big one in important communications. Be absolutely clear what you want. You can chip in when you're ready.
I thought you're just going through a list. I mean, come on. I mean,
Well, there's another one which that I agree with. And if you've got some bad news to deliver, I think it's important to sandwich it between good news, or at least finish off with a bit of good news.
I think sometimes it's really difficult, especially if you're dealing with something like we're dealing with at the moment, because, you know, regardless of how you feel, you know, it's frightening. Everyone's frightened. It's not just one sector of the population who are frightened, it's everybody. And so each person is looking at their own sort of, so what you think is good news for somebody might be bad news for someone else.
Yeah. But he could have said you've got to stay 2 meters apart, etc. But the good news is you can see your toy boy and your mistress. He could have said that, couldn't he?
Well, that would be very you know, that would be very misleading in many respects. I think anything that you're trying to do or you're coming out of lockup is going to be extremely difficult. And I do think that one lady said that we need to get behind Boris at any decisions that are made.
Keep dragging me back into this. I don't want to talk.
I know, but you have to sort of like look into that respect, and so you're bringing the subjects up. So at the end of the day, it applies.
I'm talking about the communication, though. It's so important how you deal with bad news and good news.
But I think so, you know, the communication is so much more difficult now because you can't hold somebody's hand and tell them bad news.
No. How about when the doctor came and saw the bloke in the hospital after his operation? He said, "I've got some good news and some bad news." He said, "Which do you want first?" He said, "Well, what's the bad news? Finish with the good news." He said, "Well, we've had to amputate both your legs." And he said, "Oh my God." He said, "Well, what the heck's the good news?" He said, "Well, we've sold your slippers to the bloke in the next bed." Do you like that?
No.
Right.
Folks, this is what I have to live with.
How can you tell that by body language how somebody is attracted to you?
I don't know. I haven't got a clue. It's many years ago. I just think I don't think it's more body language. It's more chemistry, isn't it? It's whether you feel comfortable with that person, and that attracts you, doesn't it? And whether they make you laugh. Well, sometimes you do make me laugh, and other times you tell silly jokes, which is not funny at all.
What about playing with your hair? Flicking your eyelids.
You're not capable of doing that. That's not attractive, honey. Try not to do that.
It's supposed to be.
Well, not from a man to attract a woman.
Your pupils dilating. I don't know how you can tell that though, because it's not going like that, can you? Yeah.
How do you think you would tell?
No.
How do you think you would tell that someone's attracted to you?
I think sometimes one that can be good and bad, depending on what you think of the. There are people that invade your personal space. There comes a point where you just feel slightly uncomfortable. Now, if it's somebody who's attracted to you, that's a good thing. If it's somebody you just feel a little bit uneasy with, you think, "What the flip are you doing?" And do you know what it? And it's only a question of millimeters.
Is this your answer to my question?
But yeah, but I think if they're standing close to you and looking you in the eye,
you think that they're attractive to you?
Flicking their hair and
they could.
I think that's a lot going on there.
I could just be annoyed with you.
So there's a lot going on there. But
in other words, you've got no idea, have you, who's attracted to you?
Right. So we might leave it there, and you're right. And come back to it tomorrow because I've got plenty more on this subject.
Yeah, I think we'll come back to this tomorrow, etc.
So just being clear, we're still looking for odd photographs from years gone by of people. I'd always like to put that up. Secondly, any body language tips, and what was the third thing? Oh, Angie's thing. Any comedy sketches
that
made you laugh that we could highlight to other people. Okay.
And how do you tell if someone's attracted to you?
Well, yeah, you could.
I think communication is like, oh, I like you, could
Yeah.
help.
And dancing around behind somebody and thrusting your pelvis towards them is not what we're looking for. Okay. All right. Cheerio,
Bye.